So the first is that this presentation is in fact being video recorded. Please note that this presentation has two parts. For the first part, we will present each of the plays, one immediately following the other. During this section, we ask that you leave your cameras off, keep your microphones muted, and hold all applause until the end of the final reading. After the readings, we'll all come back together, share in a round of applause for all of the playwrights and our company members, and begin our talkback discussion, which is the second part. We'll invite you to turn your cameras back on so that we can see each other as we engage in a vibrant conversation between the playwrights, the company members, the directors and dramaturgs, and our audience. Other important things we'd like to share. For optimal viewing, please watch the readings in gallery view and select Hide Non-Video Participants. If you don't know how to do that, click the view icon in the top right-hand corner of your screen. And then you'll see a line that says Gallery View. Click that line, and then do the same thing again, but click the line that says Hide Non-Video Participants. This way, you'll see only the actors that are working in each of the plays as they are reading. We'll remind you to reset that as we enter the talkback phase so that we can all see each other. We'll present about 80 uninterrupted minutes of readings, representing the work of 6 student playwrights from around the world. And finally, just another reminder that this presentation is being recorded. And now, it's my pleasure to introduce the first play we will present, so please sit back, relax, and enjoy our readings. And for you to follow along, our production manager has posted the playbill in the chat, which you can download as a PDF if you'd like to follow along. And so I'll introduce our first play, Plow, by Laura Alves Bowman from Santa Catarina Federal University in Brazil. Welcome, Laura, and we're excited to see Plow. Here we go.
Scene 1. The interior of a house with no division of rooms. The son takes clothes out of the closet and places them on the bed. The father is sitting in a rocking chair with a basin on his lap. He is peeling an orange. A long silence. The son glances slightly at his father.
The corn didn't grow at all. There was no way.
You have to plant on the crescent moon.
I'll sow again. By the end of the week, I'll pay the guy. They told me that there, everyone arranges themselves, settles down.
So it is. Each one does what they can.
Yes, but in a well-worked land.
But you know the work is tiring. I'm tired. Exhausted.
Yes, Dad, it's just that. All work is tiring, but some are more. Each job with its part, isn't it?
However, it is difficult to embrace a job whose size is not known.
Regardless, it's my future that'll open up. Things will start to work out for me. I'm gonna lease the flat land. It'll have everything, you'll like it. You know I'll be back to pick you up as soon as I've organized myself. You'll go there with me. Believe me.
I can't even imagine this happening. And you still ask me to believe? And by the way, what's the situation going to be like with your girlfriend?
I'm solving this.
I still remember when I was your age. I had all these ideas in my head, and I could work all day laughing like someone who didn't know what a flu was. I'm old, tired, and even if I had that kind of money, I don't know if I'd be able to endure such a trip. But I'm happy because you have the health and strength to travel this ground. Go there. Take your chance.
Dad, I'm gonna talk to him later today. And you will see, he will understand. He will accept my offer. I'm a decent person. I always worked. I never stole from anyone, just like you. We don't need to be ashamed of a misunderstanding that happened so many years ago. And then people change. They get better. They evolve, as they say.
It's all worth a lot to me. Now, with the part you decided to sell, you choose what to do.
Scene 2. A fence at the back of one of the lots. A tree. 20 years ago. Father approaches the fence. The neighbor is on the other side of the fence, stirring the soil.
What the hell? What happened here again? It's the 1,000th time it moves.
I think you're insisting on the usual mistake. You know that when I bought the land, we measured up to here, close to the orange tree.
But this is certainly a misunderstanding. After all, the tree has always been in my land. I have no doubts.
Well, I'm used to doing business. I know exactly what I bought.
Look, lad, I'll tell you something. This region is of enormous value to me. You arrived here not long ago, but I have always lived in these lands. This is my place.
Turns out that now I also live here and will live for a long time.
You don't understand. My family is from here. My grandparents worked in these fields.
But it's not because you have an attachment to the place that I'm just gonna hand my land over on a silver platter.
I've already seen that you don't seem to understand. So you can be sure you'll pay for this.
Scene 3. Neighbor's porch. Hours after scene 1. Neighbor and son are standing.
And once the new machinery arrives, the processes will be much faster. The guys who helped me here are already being instructed to deal with these new things. And then they'll get used to it quickly.
Yeah, it will definitely speed up all the work. In such a large area, these machines make all the difference. It's a shame that my father is so stubborn that he still prefers to do everything the way we used to. It wears us out a lot, you know?
Okay, so that's it, buddy. You came just to see how the machines work, right?
No, no, not exactly. Actually, well, it's just, as you know, my father and I are alone, right? It has always been like this. We have always lived off our crops, and now competition is stronger. There are many producers. Sales are not going so well.
I don't know if I get you, kid.
So it turned out that I want to go to this new land. I'll give it a try over there.
Yes, half a dozen people go there every month. I noticed. But I'm sorry, I don't know who's in charge of this trip. So go check with someone else.
But it's not about that. I've already organized everything to go. Only one thing is missing. I still need half the money for the ticket. That's why I decided to sell half the land.
Gee, I don't know if I want to discuss this with you, kid.
Please, I need you to hear my purchase offer at least.
I don't know if I want to hear it.
It's a good land, productive as you know. About our plantation, we always had a good variety. In addition, it is a terrain that would increase your production.
I know all that. You see, I respect you, but I can't do business with you. Go home and don't even tell your father that you showed up here.
My father knows I am here. It's my only chance. Please, I know that you are interested in the terrain.
Since you came all this way, so tell me, how much do you want of this land of yours?
10,000.
Are you crazy or what? Is this some kind of joke? I would never pay that price. No one would.
But it's a good land. We worked it a lot. It's fertile. It would expand your cultivation soon.
The problem is, you still owe me a lot. After all, your father knows very well that he stole part of my land.
Look, there's this story about my father's grandparents buried under that orange tree. That's why he was so attached. It was hard for him to let go of that little piece of land, knowing that. But that's in the past. It's been so many years. Also, this piece is yours if you buy it from me. Anything less than that is impossible. My father is already old. He's tired.
And why don't you offer to someone else, huh? I've had enough headaches with your family.
But who would I offer it to? You know that nobody else would buy here in the region. People can't afford it.
Right. I can't handle this anymore.
I promise we will measure the land. It will be the exact half.
To end this discussion once and for all, I accept your offer.
The son shakes the neighbor's hand.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Come by tomorrow and we'll do the paperwork.
Scene 4. An orchard. The day after. Son and the girlfriend are standing.
I wish I could believe everything you say. How will you get this done? This is a groundless dream.
But I've always been straight with you. I'll be back and get you and my father. I can swear.
A sound of leaves and fruit falling to the ground.
Don't worry. No one will see us here.
You never know.
It's a quiet place. I assure you.
Okay, but now tell me, and everything we planned?
I just need to get organized first. I told you that there I'll make good money. You'll see.
And there was no one else to ask for it but my father.
Your father was the only person who could buy the land. Who else would I talk to?
You promised me we'd get married, have a family. And now you'll leave me here alone and let go of me as if I haven't waited for you all this time. What will become of me?
Don't say that. I always did everything I could. I may not have been born into as good a family as yours, but I'm a man of my word. I'm thinking of our future, and all you tell me is that I should abandon this and live here in this end of the world, hoping a miracle will fall from the sky. I'd rather have lightning strike my head than to have to live here for the rest of my life.
It would have been better if you kept what you promised me. It would have been better if you stayed and honored your father. But now I realize it. You only care about yourself. You don't care about who loves you, who does everything for you.
You can't understand me. You don't even try to. Of course, you never had to try for anything. I'm sorry.
You know I can get my engagement back anytime I want.
You had already left this behind. Don't tell me your father still insists on it. You will not be happy living an arranged life.
And will I be happy here alone?
Don't do that to me. You know I love you so much.
I have asked you so much to stay.
I'm confused.
I can't wait for you forever.
Scene 5. At father and son's house porch. The day after. Sunny. Father is sitting in his rocking chair, a basin on his lap. He is peeling an orange. The son carries a large, heavy bag, sits on a stool, and places the bag on the floor beside him. The son takes another stool and places it in front of the father. There's an old pot propped up against the wall. The son opens the bag, takes out a board with a nail in the middle, puts it on the stool.
I took the newest ones, as you asked.
The son removes a corn cob and presses it over the board a few times. He takes the pot and places it on the floor next to the stool, removes the corn straw, and begins to separate the grains inside the pot. The father cuts the orange into 4 pieces and starts eating.
I've already plowed the land, you see. Don't worry, I'll sow in the morning. Because this whole week, this full moon,
Gradually, clouds appear in the sky, reducing the clarity.
I spoke to her, Dad.
More clouds appear. Father looks at his terrain as he eats the orange.
We even fight, but I like her. We ended up working things out.
The sun passes the cob over the board several times.
Actually, I wanted to talk to you too. I know this whole story bothered you. I shouldn't have done that. Sold the best part of our land. But there is still half left. Don't forget that.
The sun separates the grains from the cob, letting them fall into the pot. Darker clouds appear.
Now I even have good money.
Father eats the last piece of orange.
If possible, by next week, I'll take everything to the mill.
A light rain starts. Father wipes his mouth on his shirt and looks at the sun.
What? But it's not possible.
The rain intensifies. Thunder is heard. The father, surprised, puts the basin on the ground and wipes his hands on his pants.
Dad, I don't believe this. It's a miracle.
The son stands up and goes to the father, crouches down beside him.
Dad, the rain.
End play.
Thank you so much to the playwright, the director, the dramaturg, and the cast of Plow. Thank you. And now we move to our next piece, Baby Blues by Madison Pitzer. And here we go.
Lights come up on the shore of a river somewhere in the Appalachian Mountains. Enter Ethel and Elias. The park ranger Nora follows the couple, but breaks away soon after and examines a small area nearby.
I didn't take my eyes off her for 1 second. I just don't understand how she could just magically disappear from me.
Darling, she couldn't have gone far. Maybe she just wandered a little bit into the woods and got scared that she lost her way.
Elias removes the jacket of his business suit and sits on their foldable beach chair in the dirt nearby.
We weren't even near the woods. We were at the river.
Do you think she may have gone into the water?
I don't want to think about that.
Well, if you two weren't near the woods, then where on earth could she have gone?
I don't know.
The park ranger Nora approaches Ethel and Elias.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I have some news to share with you.
What?
What is it?
Tallulah could still be alive. She may have walked down the shoreline and lost her track of her way.
Oh, thank God. You will find her, right?
I will try my best.
Park ranger Nora exits. Ethel and Elias are left alone.
We need to help look too.
We can only do so much and search so far. It might take us days.
Tallulah is counting on us to keep her safe.
I know.
Lights come up on another area of the shore. Ethel and Elias are searching this specific area alone.
A day has gone by and nobody has found anything.
It may take a while.
After 24 hours pass, the likelihood of a missing person decreases, and so does the likelihood of them being alive.
Our daughter is still alive. We can't think of anything happening to our baby.
What if she's not okay?
She is.
How would you know?
I don't know, Elias.
Why are you so calm?
I'm trying to keep my composure so I don't break down.
You could barely keep your composure yesterday. Why are you all of a sudden?
Elias notices a child-sized hair bow floating in the water near them. Elias recognizes it immediately.
No.
What?
No.
What is it?
She's in the water. Her bow is floating.
We don't know it's hers.
It is. The bow has her initials on it. I have to tell Nora.
Elias runs off towards Park Ranger Nora and the other park rangers. Ethel is left alone, surrounded by the quiet sounds of nature. Lights up on an area of the shoreline that is more upstream.
2 whole days and still nothing?
We are trying everything we can.
An FBI agent enters.
I have been assigned to review this case. To confirm, the last person to be seen with Tallulah was Ethel, correct?
Correct.
Where did you last see her?
She was playing in the dirt in front of me.
How long did you take your eyes off of Tallulah?
I don't remember.
What do you mean you don't remember?
I mean, I don't remember. One moment, I had my eyes on her, and then I turned away from her, and she was gone when I looked back.
Mrs. Jones, were there any people around at the time of Tallulah's disappearance?
No,
Did you hear your daughter enter the water?
no,
The child's hair bow was found in the water.
I don't know.
Park Ranger Thomas runs up to the group.
We have located Tallulah.
Is she alive, Thomas?
She's not.
No. Please tell me you're lying.
I am so sorry for your loss.
My baby!
Lights dim as Ethel falls to her knees. Lights come up on Ethel, Elias, Park Ranger Nora, and Thomas, and the FBI agent who are surrounding the child's body. The child's body is covered with a white sheet.
There are no good words. None.
There is something that I would like you to see.
The coroner lifts the sheet from Tallulah's face and neck.
It appears that along with drowning, she was strangled as well.
No. Oh God, why? Who did this to her?
The coroner replaces the sheet.
I killed her.
What?
What?
No. You're joking.
Lula was been screaming all day. The crisp sound of the water was so peaceful. I told her we were going swimming. She didn't want to. I held her under the water as long as I could. When she stopped moving, I let go. I returned to my chair and relaxed before telling anyone. The water answered my wishes by giving me the peace and quiet I have longed for since she was born.
I'll kill you. I'll kill you!
Park Ranger Nora and Thomas grab and hold Elias back from lunging at Ethel. The FBI agent attempts to handcuff Ethel, but an altercation between them leads to the FBI agent pinning her to the ground.
How could you do this to her? Oh God. It should have been me.
The coroner lifts Tallulah's body onto the stretcher.
No.
The sobs of Elias fade out before the lights immediately go dark. End of play.
Thank you to the cast of Baby Blues, our playwright, Madison Pitzer, the directing team, dramaturg, and all cast members. Thank you so much. Up next, A Broken Family.
Dad is at the counter in the very messy kitchen, putting dinner out for his family. The table is covered in a collection of random items. Ty is sitting off to the side with his iPad.
Dinner's ready! Girls, come downstairs!
Coming!
Ty, get off the iPad and come get your food. I'm not asking again.
He has 2 minutes left.
Just leave it
actually
there and
eating
come get a
together?
plate. Alice, can you...
I'm right here.
Oh, sorry. Can you go tell your mother that dinner is ready and getting cold?
Mom, dinner!
Can I
You
sit
know,
with
that's not what I
everything or
meant.
something?
Yeah, I know,
just
but
for
I'm not
Mom
gonna
and
get her
Ty?
just because you
There's
don't want
nothing
to.
special. Just grab what you'd like. I made dinner. You can at least be grateful and help when
I'm
I
not
ask.
acting out seriously.
Ty, get up and come get your
You can
dinner.
have it.
Nobody bothers
I'll
to
get
say
your food,
thank
just
you
pass
or
me a
help set
plate.
the table or actually come downstairs.
You and Mom
when I
barely
ask.
ever make dinner. You just forget or don't bother feeding Ty, so it ends up being my job or Tess's. So I'm so sorry that we don't all of a sudden act grateful when you do the bare minimum for once.
That's enough. I'm so fed up
Hey,
with
Ty,
the
how much
disrespect
rice do you
around
want?
here. No, leave it. He has to do some things himself.
Dad tries to grab the plate from Tess, and they end up dropping the food on the floor.
Oh.
Dad, what the hell?
Damn it! Exactly what we needed.
Fine, I'll get the broom.
Great, just great. Ty, if you don't get over here,
Ty's gonna eat all the chicken fingers if you don't get over here.
Hey, no, I want half of them.
I don't know. I'm bigger, so I think I get more.
No, I'm growing more. I should get more.
Dad,
I don't know. Are you sure you're
have you
so
tried
good?
actually looking
Dad,
for it?
I found it.
Okay, come here. You can have as many as you want, you goose.
Alice picks up Ty so he can reach the counter. Tess enters and starts sweeping the floor. Dad puts broccoli on Ty's plate.
Ew, I don't eat that.
Just try it. It won't kill you.
Broccoli's
It's
so
not that bad,
fun.
honestly.
It's like eating tiny trees.
Okay, I always wanted to eat trees.
You're
Okay,
both
great.
ridiculous.
Is
Everyone
this my
sit down.
phone? How'd I do that? Did anyone see where I put my phone?
Counter,
Wait,
maybe?
is Mom still
Oh
coming?
my god,
Yeah, I
it's
wouldn't
right
count
here.
on it. She'll come down in like 20 minutes and complain that the food is
Okay,
cold.
sorry, never
But if
mind.
I go yell
Dad,
at her
just
to
give
get
her
up
a
here,
rest,
she'll
would
lose
you?
it.
Yeah.
Even though she bitches at everyone when she makes dinner, and don't roll your eyes at me. I was only saying that she's an ungrateful.
Dad, we know we live with her too, remember?
Unfortunately.
Okay, I'll stop complaining.
Is that personal growth I see? Who are you and what have you done with our desk?
Oh, knock it off.
Can I have more rice?
Go for it. Ty, I've told you a million times. No electronics at
And I
dinner.
can just get have her
Hey,
phone.
don't you come down here. The computer
What?
is being
No, I'm busy having dinner. You get up here.
Down here and help fix your
What?
computer.
Just come
But
get
you
dinner.
have to fix it properly. What?
I can't hear you. Ugh, we can't talk from different floors. For the love of God.
Anyways, Ty, how's life? What did you do at school today?
I don't know. Nothing.
Excuse me? When did you become a teenager in an 8-year-old's body? You don't start doing nothing till at least
Can you
high
pass the
school.
broccoli?
Okay, well, we do some stuff. It's just boring.
Alice reaches towards the broccoli,
I doubt it's all boring. Last week you said there was some new project in stuff.
but is caught off guard by a bag of Skittles on the table.
Okay, why is there a giant bag of Skittles? I've literally never seen that many Skittles in this house at the same time.
Because they were in the cupboard for a really long time.
Oh, so they're like old dead Skittles? Best Buy.
They are not stale.
Okay, yeah,
Well,
they're
they
good.
taste like stale.
Hey, you wanna know something weird? English makes no sense.
Yeah, it really does
There's
make
like this
sense.
thing where pineapples in every other language is just variations of the French one, ananas. And then English was like, nah, we aren't doing that.
Is that
This fruit is a
TikTok?
pineapple. Like,
I
what?
thought
Oh,
it
it's
was
school.
like
Yeah, watch this
Sinbad.
movie
Probably
with this
TikTok
pineapple guy, and
somewhere,
it was
but
kind
I
of
just never
dumb.
seen
Yeah,
it.
it's probably
Yeah,
somewhere.
everything is a TikTok.
Wait, Ty, do you watch TikToks on like YouTube or something?
Usually, yeah, just on YouTube Shorts.
Oh,
Kind
cool,
of
I didn't
stupid.
know
Everyone
that.
just copied TikTok because it did
They literally
so well.
did. It's like now there's TikToks
Okay,
on
but
Instagram
do you
probably
guys remember
Snapchat
like
so much and stories
okay,
and
why am I
stuff.
forgetting what I'm saying? Not like before Reels and TikTok there was like Vine and
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Musical.ly
we
for
forgot
Love.
about
Remember
those.
that?
I forgot about
Basically, it was
those.
so bad.
Were you even alive when that was a thing?
No, but I still heard of
Well,
it.
he had an iPad like 9 months.
Oh gee, yeah, baby Ty trying to use speech to text was the funniest
I
thing
actually
ever.
remember
It
that.
could
Such a
never
Paw
understand
Patrol.
you and you get
Okay,
so
you do not
mad.
remember that. You were
Oh
way
gee,
too
yes, I
young.
forgot about that. Paw Patrol on a wall.
For fuck's sake. Can we keep the volume down, please?
Just get your food.
Sorry, jeez. We're just having fun.
You can have fun, just do it quietly.
Ah yes, so much fun.
Piss off. I'm exhausted. I don't need to listen to you shouting. Can we clear some of this stuff off the table so I have somewhere to sit? Tess, your homework is everywhere. You have to stop leaving your dance stuff in the middle of the living room floor.
Yes, fine.
Not like it matters.
What?
Nothing, it's fine. I'll move my stuff, then the house will magically be clean.
No kidding.
Well,
One
you don't
bag
have to
won't
make it.
put
Can
her
you guys
in.
just like not do this for once?
Are you sure this chicken is cooked enough?
No, I decided it didn't need to be cooked.
Whatever. It's
Mom,
cooked
it's
cold.
fine.
Well, if you'd come down when dinner
Just
was
keep
actually
your ears
ready,
up.
maybe it wouldn't be cold.
Fuck off.
Ty, you know you have to go get your karate stuff soon, yeah?
I'm tired. Do I have to go?
Yes,
No,
you have to
it's
go.
alright.
Do you have to undermine
Guys,
the
just
rules
honestly
every
give
day?
it a rest!
How come you don't want to go?
I don't know. I'm just tired.
Well, let's see how you feel after dinner, yeah?
Okay.
You know what, Ty? You can either go to karate or you can stay here and help clean up.
Dad, that's
Go
absolute
somewhere.
bull, and you
Kids
know it.
never
That's why
check
you're
in.
really
Not helping enough since the house is still a disaster.
Oh my god, Mom, stop. You're the one who won't let us throw
Enough!
anything
Stop
out.
twisting it around on me.
Okay, well, every time
It is
I
on
try
you.
to clean up,
You're the one
why
who
doesn't
won't
he
let us
listen to
throw anything
me?
out
I'm so
without
done
your
with your
fucking
bullshit.
approval. But you refuse to deal with any of it. Then you have the audacity to bitch at us about all the mess? Seriously?
Oh, fuck you. It's not my job to clean everything.
Oh my
and
God.
besides,
Will you
I've
guys
been
just
trying
stop?
to
Can we
make
have a
sure
nice
you
dinner
don't
for
want all the
once?
extra clothes.
What about the mountains of toys in the basement that we don't need anymore?
I
That
don't
you
want
won't
to
let me
deal
get rid of.
with the fucking toys
Well,
right
you
now.
have to.
No, I don't. The priority is the main floor. But if you're too stupid to see
Oh,
that, then
stop
I don't know
being
how you
such an
figure out what
asshole.
to throw out.
Every
Can't
time I
we
ask
just
you
deal
what
with
can
this
go,
later?
you say later, later,
Because
later,
I don't.
later. I will be dead later.
Fine, not having to listen to you would be fucking
You
great.
miserable fucking bitch.
Fuck
Go
you,
fuck
Daniel,
yourself.
fuck you.
Well, that was fun.
Just eat.
Yeah, fine.
Just for the record, that's what I was talking about.
Alice, leave it alone.
No, I'm not just gonna ignore it. How can you not see how messed up this is?
We aren't talking about this right now.
Right, yeah, of course, because if it was up to you, you just never listen to anyone. This is exactly how you treat Dad. No wonder why he yells so much. It's the only way to get your goddamn
Alice, that's
attention.
enough. My relationship with your father is none of your business, so don't talk about things that you don't understand.
Not my business? Are you kidding me right now? Do you hear how ridiculous that sounds? You're my parents, and you put us in the middle of all your fights, so of course it's my business.
Oh, for fuck's sake, stop being oversensitive and finish.
I'm
so
not being
attacking
oversensitive.
right now.
This isn't normal.
I don't want to have this fight again. You're not old enough to understand, but all couples fight. That's just the way it is.
Mom, I'm not a child anymore. Yes, every couple fights, I know that. But most people's parents don't have daily screaming matches that shakes the fucking house.
Alice, calm down and stop being so dramatic. We're fine. We only fight because we have kids. We'd be fine if we hadn't had all of you.
Is that
Sorry.
really what you think?
No. This is not your fault. Mom, we've talked about this. I don't give a fuck if you think that's true, but you cannot say that in front of them ever again.
You don't understand.
No, shut up. Just listen to me for once. I put up with a lot of shit from you and Dad because I love you. And I know you're trying, but this is the line, okay? This is the line. You do not get to blame us. You do not get to traumatize us even more by blaming us for everything. Believe it all you want, but don't ever fucking say it again.
Enough! I'm not going to listen to this again. You can go to therapy and get over whatever trauma you think you've had, but I'm done listening to you make up crap to throw in my face. I've had enough!
Well, that could have gone better.
Yeah,
At least you tried.
this is not your fault, okay? I promise.
Do I still need to go to karate?
Oh, yeah, I suppose I could drive you.
Kai, you know you don't have to go, right?
Yeah, I just don't really want to be in the house that much.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, well, how about we stop at Tim's on the way, and I'll get you anything you want.
A donut?
You can have 2 donuts.
Okay.
But only
Yeah.
if you get all your stuff ready super fast.
Well, that was...
Yeah,
I'm so tired, Alice.
I know, me too.
Do you ever just think about leaving? Just like
all the
bye,
time.
motherfuckers. Then why don't you? You actually could.
No, I could never
then
actually
I
bring
could
myself
come
to do
back.
it unless I could take you and Ty with me. I'll always come back. I guess I just figured you guys still need me. And you both deserve at least one parent who's, I don't know, whole.
So do you.
Yeah, I guess so, but we both know that ship has sailed.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. You're the one stuck dealing with them alone now that I'm at uni so much. So don't apologize. Not to me. None of this is your fault, okay? None of it.
I guess, but I don't know. I'm still sorry. And just, thank you.
Yeah. Do you want to come with us? Just to karate to get out of the house for a bit.
I mean, I should probably stay and clean all this up.
Yeah, okay, fair. I'll bring you back some hot chocolate and cookies. Yeah?
Yeah, thanks.
I love you.
I love you too.
End of play.
Thank you to the cast of A Broken Family, our playwright Madeline King, and Madeline is from University of Toronto in Canada. Thank you to the directors, dramaturgs, and the cast. Next up, Amor Eternus by Kara Haddon from Mason Fairfax. And here we go.
Scene 1. The church bridal and groom suites. Light rain can be heard in the background. There's a bridal suite on one side of the space and features a simple chair and small table. On the table sits a rotary phone and an envelope. A thin wall separates the rooms, but the groom suite is located opposite the bridal suite. Just like the bridal suite, there's a simple chair, small table, rotary phone, and envelope. A thin wall separates the rooms, but is thick enough for people to be unable to communicate through the wall.
Blessed be this day of sacred union. Blessed be the water of the Spirit, which guides our souls into eternity. Thank you all for being here today. The ceremony will begin in 10 minutes.
Agnes, 21, enters the bridal suite. As Agnes investigates her room, Peter, 21, enters the groom suite. Agnes opens the envelope on her table, unfolds the letter inside, and begins to read.
My dearest Agnes, how long I've waited for this day to finally arrive. I've loved you from the moment I saw you 7 years ago. You were the prettiest girl in our entire schoolhouse, even at 14. Your hair was what drew me to you. So long and dark with enough waves to be at home in our beloved river. Oh, how I longed to run my hands through it. I remember when we would walk home together after school. I'd carry your books while you talked about the latest dress fashions or whatever silly idea you fancied that day. I didn't care so long as I could hear the sweet, angelic tones of your voice. In those days, I thought that we would always walk home together. So, when your parents sent you away to finishing school after graduation, I was gripped by a melancholy so profound I became ill. My affliction became so severe that the priest was called to administer my last rites. But then you, my guardian angel, returned home from school to save me from an early demise. Though I know not what transpired in those days of delirium, my only memory is of you. At my bedside, cooling my fever with water as pure as your heart. I honestly thought that I was dreaming, but you were real.
Oh, Peter, you're too good.
So, my beloved, it is through the benevolence of the river Eternus that I express my earnestness for you to be my wife and lover until time no longer has meaning. Forever yours, Peter.
Agnes finishes the letter and sets it on the table. Peter tears open his letter and reads it.
My darling Peter, my words cannot describe how I feel about you. I've never been very smart, but you didn't hold that against me. I remember our walks home back in our school days. I would always be so angry with myself for talking too much. I was worried I would just scare you away. But you kept walking me home, You had an energy about you, like lightning in a cloud, barely containing yourself from acting on your most carnal desires. You were a bit of a ladies' man back then, and I secretly enjoyed the damage your attentions caused my reputation, which is why my parents forced me away to finishing school. During those lonely years without you, I managed to learn what it takes to be a good homemaker. I promised myself that no matter how difficult the task, I would become the bride you deserve. As soon as I received news of your grave illness, I ran away from school to be by your side. I needed you to come back to me. So I did what I always do. I talked about every bit of nonsense, lessened your fever with my wet hair, kissed your cheek when your parents weren't looking. Then, one day, you opened your eyes. You saw me, and I saw the lightning strike in you again. And that, my dear, is the moment I questioned whether I would always see that same lightning in your eyes. Forever is quite a long time after all, but by the time I gathered the courage to express my feelings, it was too late. Once the wedding date was set, we were forbidden from meeting until today. I haven't seen your face in a year, Peter. And as I stand here so close to being your wife, I wonder if you even want me to be your lover until time no longer binds us. I need to know that our love is as pure as the river Turnus before our ceremony begins. Then I will be ready to marry you. Until forever, Agnes.
My apologies, Father, but I have to have a word with my beautiful bride. I'll be with you in just a few minutes.
Of course, my boy. But I should tell you that Agnes has already voiced her concerns to me, and I'm here to offer my counsel.
Thank the spirit. Forgive me, Father.
Peter tries to leave. The priest blocks his doorway.
Of course, my boy, but I'm afraid I cannot allow you to see Agnes right now. It's against tradition to see the bride before the wedding.
Peter's about to protest, but the priest straightens his posture and towers over Peter. He shrinks further into the room.
Right. I was just in shock. I mean, how could Agnes possibly doubt my feelings for her? How do I prove that I will always love her in the next 5 minutes?
Do not trouble yourself, my boy. I've had many a young bride get cold feet on the day of the ceremony. After all, it's not every day that one binds themselves to their amor eternus. Spirit bless us.
If only we could have been together through our engagement. I could have won her heart back the minute she began doubting me.
You know why betrothed couples must stay apart. Absence is the only way for the river to decide if your hearts have truly grown fonder. Besides, what is 1 year in the face of eternal love?
Don't you mean eternal life? I can't imagine anything greater.
Amor eternus. Eternal love. It's not a commitment to be taken lightly. Spirit knows how many lives were dissolved because they misunderstood the nature of our water, our way of life. Perhaps Agnes is wise to reconsider this match.
No, Father, wait. The entire town is in the sanctuary. What will they say if nothing happens today? Please, I just need a moment to speak with Agnes. Please, I will marry her today.
Very well. I'll make sure Agnes is ready to talk.
Thank you, Father.
The priest turns to leave the groom suite.
If I were you, I'd be more concerned with what the people in the sanctuary have left unsaid.
The priest exits. In the bridal suite, Agnes adjusts her veil, carefully keeping her hair hidden, when there's a knock at the door. Agnes opens the door to reveal the priest.
Blessed be the pure of heart.
for the love they offer is a balm to the weak. Keep close to the scripture, my girl. Let the water of the Spirit guide your path.
I will, Father.
You have 3 minutes.
Priest exits. As soon as the door to the bridal suite closes, the sound of rain intensifies from a drizzle to a downpour. The rotary phones in the groom and bridal suites begin to ring at the same time. Peter picks his up immediately, but Agnes's phone still rings.
Pray for us, Father.
Agnes picks up her phone.
Hello, Peter.
Miss Sweet River, it's so good to hear your voice.
I've missed you.
And I you. Oh, this past year I've done nothing but wait in anticipation for today. Tell me, what have I done to make you doubt my love?
What did you miss about me, Peter?
Excuse me?
During our engagement, when I was away at finishing school, what were the things about me you missed?
My dear, is that all? Did my letter not praise your beauty enough? I'm sorry if you felt slighted, but couldn't this have waited until after we were married?
No, it could not.
Very well. I missed your hair, your voice, your beauty. There are so many parts of you that I love. It's hard for me to choose which ones I miss the most.
My hair, my voice, my beauty, these are all superficial things. My appearance might change one day.
No, it won't. When we get married today, when we drink the blessed water of the river Eternus, we will be young forever. No wrinkles, no blemishes, no death. Don't you want that with me?
Peter, you're not listening.
I'm trying, Agnes, but you're making this so damn difficult. All I want is to marry you today.
Please listen. What do you think I did all those years at finishing school?
Embroidering cushions, walking around balancing books on your head?
I learned the basic skills for being a good wife, including possessing a mastery of our scripture. And as a wife and mother, it would be my duty to teach our children the ways of the Spirit and our water.
I see. And this is relevant because
I read that the river Eternus, when blessed by the Spirit, will only grant eternal life and youth to the lovers whose bond is as unadulterated as the water itself.
And you don't think we fit that description?
I want to.
The rain gets louder.
You want to, but you can't? Why the hell not? You know, I've sacrificed so much for us to be together. I became a recluse, lost most of my friends. I nearly died because of you. And now you want to leave me because the magic water doesn't think we're soulmates? I can't believe how stupid you are.
I know, Peter. Everyone in my life has told me so. You were the only one who made me feel like I could be more, that I had something worth saying. You know, I may not be very bright, but I'm smart enough to trust the scripture when
what? When it says you shouldn't marry the only man who has ever made you feel good about yourself? If you love me and I love you, what is preventing us from getting married today? Tell me.
I'm still not good enough for you. Even after all those years of working and studying, I'll never be what you want because someone else has beaten me to it.
Agnes leans against the wall separating the suites. Peter leans against the wall on his side, a mirror to Agnes.
What are you talking about, someone else?
The people in this town talk, Peter. It's mostly idle gossip, but it's hard to ignore when everyone is saying the same thing. I know you had an affair during our engagement.
You must be joking. How could you possibly listen to what the idiots of this town say?
They're not idiots, they're our families.
And they don't matter. None of them do. All they've done is try to keep us apart.
But even the priest.
Oh, so the priest is the one who put this ludicrous idea in your head. You know, that old bastard never liked me. He's just trying to scare you away by telling lies.
But he promised the truth.
Lies! The truth is that you are mine, Agnes. No one will take you away from me again. I love you and I will never hurt you or lie to you. I promise you that. I'm on my knees before you, begging you to join me in the sanctuary. I beg you to show me even a fraction of the love I have given you and join me in becoming my amor eternus. And if you do, I swear on the river itself, I will spend every moment of forever earning your trust.
Agnes steps away from the wall.
All right, Peter. Let's get married.
Oh, this is wonderful. Agnes, I love you so much.
I love you too. See you soon.
See you at the altar.
Peter and Agnes hang up the phone simultaneously. Peter excitedly straightens his suit and exits. Agnes grabs the engagement ring on the table, hesitates, then slides it onto her finger and exits. Blackout. Scene 2. The church sanctuary. Agnes and Peter face each other at the pulpit, smiling, with the priest standing between them. Besides the priest is a small altar with 2 chalices filled with water. Peter reaches for Agnes's hand, but the priest clears his throat and Peter lets his hand fall to his side. The heavy rain outside becomes a thunderstorm.
My children, we are gathered here on this auspicious day in the sight of the Blessed Spirit to join these 2 young people in amor eternus. This union is the most important rite of passage in our community, and like the baptism of our spirit, will transform a couple's bond into something better, stronger, and made to last. This is the reward the Spirit granted to our community alone, on the condition that our lovers use their immortality well. In the words of our Spirit, the river's properties are as pure as the hearts of your people. Heed this warning, for only poison awaits the one whose heart is decayed beyond repair. My boy, do you promise to take Agnes as your amor eternus, to have and to hold, for richer or for poorer, to love and cherish her alone until time no longer binds you?
I do, and I will forever.
My girl, do you promise to take Peter as your amor eternus, to have and to hold, for richer or for poorer, to love, cherish, and obey him until time no longer binds you?
I do, and I will.
Then, by the power vested in me, by the blessed Spirit and the river eternus, I now pronounce you amantes.
Peter and Agnes lean in to kiss, but are stopped by the priest, who hands them each a chalice.
You may now drink from the river eternus. Spirit bless your eternal youth.
Peter takes one last look at Agnes before drinking his chalice empty. Agnes pretends to take a couple sips from her chalice, then removes her veil, revealing a very short, uneven haircut. Quite different from the long, wavy locks Peter described. Thunder reverberates through the sanctuary.
Agnes, your hair.
I know. I was stupid enough to cut it when I first heard the rumors. How silly of me. But even without the hair, you still love me, right?
It was so beautiful. Look what you've done to it.
Right, Peter? Come to think of it, you never outright denied having an affair, did you?
What? Of course I did. I said that.
You said that the priest was telling lies, not that you didn't take a mistress while you were engaged to me. You blamed the town, our own families, for trying to tear us apart, then groveled on your knees for my trust. You already broke your promise not to lie to me. I can't trust you if you won't be honest.
I begged you because you wouldn't listen to reason, just like what you're doing now. Is this what eternity with you is going to be like? If constantly arguing with my shrew of a wife is all I have to look forward to, then I'd rather be dead.
Peter's nose begins to bleed. His gaze travels from Agnes to the empty chalice in his hand to the priest.
The water of the Spirit has deemed your heart impure, my boy. You might as well be honest before it's too late.
Hogwash, this water isn't gonna kill me. I have nothing to hide.
Peter, I tried to warn you. Reese tried to warn you, but you wouldn't listen to us. No matter how much I talked, you never listened.
I have nothing to hide. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do.
Peter lays down and closes his eyes. Dropping her chalice, Agnes rushes to his side and cradles his head in her arms. He perks up slightly and giggles, delirious from the poisoned water.
There you are. I've been looking all over for you.
I'm right here, my love. I've been always at your side.
You're the prettiest girl I've ever seen. I want to kiss you and touch you all over.
We are married, so I suppose that would be fine.
Really? That's great. You're so beautiful, Sophia.
The sound of thunder echoes through the sanctuary.
What?
Sophia, what's the matter?
Nothing, Peter.
You look sad.
I'm just so happy I married an honest man.
Peter tries to kiss Agnes. She lets him.
Sweet River. Oh, I'm tired. Sophia, will you lay down with me?
Of course.
Agnes lays on top of Peter's chest. He wheezes and struggles to breathe.
What we have is wonderful, Sophia, but Agnes belongs to me. But if you want more fun, I can keep us a secret forever.
Peter dies. Agnes weeps over his body. The priest picks up the chalices and returns them to the altar table. He takes in the scene of Agnes mourning Peter and shakes his head.
Blessed be the pure in heart, for the love they offer is a balm to the weak. Peter was weak, my girl. He felt no shame or remorse for his actions. I know it hurts now, but this plan of ours was for the best. This was the only way you could discover his true nature. You'll find someone someday who deserves your heart.
The priest raises his hands to the sky as the thunderstorm calms.
Bless you, my girl. Let the pain of your tears fall into our beloved river. This wound will heal, and you will be restored. Your youth may not be everlasting, but you will find a way to make it meaningful. The love we feel is designed to outlive our bodies, and like the never-ending flow of the current, its impact is more immortal than we could ever be.
The priest exits.
I do not belong to you, Peter. After all, you were never mine.
Agnes places the ring on Peter's chest and exits. End of play.
Thank you. Playwright Kara Haddon, and director, dramaturg, the cast, thank you, Amoritanos. Up next, The Lost Island of the Gods by Victor Nicolae Ciobanu, Universitate de Arte Târgu Mureș, Romania. And here we go. We are ready.
The play takes place in the evening, in a coffee shop from Bali, Denpasar. The two are seated at a small table. In the beginning, in the background, we can hear relaxing Sibilungan music, which fades softly away. The two actors drink coffee.
Really? Thanks for showing me around today, Ida.
You're welcome.
I wish I had the inspiration to ask you earlier. I lost 2 days with my tour guide, and he could barely speak English.
I see. Sometimes it's a problem in Indonesia. That's why our government invested a lot in English education lately.
Invested. But how come people don't speak English? Did they study in school?
Yes, from kindergarten, minimum 2 English classes every week.
It's hard to believe. I don't understand. What do they study in these classes?
It's not funny.
Yes, sorry. I just thought that if they studied so much, they should speak proper English. Right?
Yes, but people are shy.
Shy?
Yes, they don't want to speak because they are worried not to make mistakes.
But is it possible for someone to learn without mistakes?
Did you know everyone is a polyglot here?
No. How come?
Yes, because everyone can speak at least 2 or 3 languages already. I mean, our local dialects and the national Indonesian language. And also, the local dialect has 3 layers of language, and we can also understand Sanskrit because of the praying language in Hindu religion.
Wow, that sounds so complicated. What do you mean by 3 layers?
Yes, 3. The language we use for old literature, royal palace, ceremonial events, the language that we use when talking with older people, and the language that we use for people of the same age or younger.
You mean you speak different with elder people?
Yes, of course. We use a more polite dialect and with different words. Each dialect has different words for the same word.
It's so complicated. Why so much effort?
It's not if you learn very early at a young age.
Maybe. We don't usually drink coffee in the evening in Germany. But this coffee is just too good to be true.
Indonesian people like to drink coffee sometimes in the evening, and here it's never too late. We have all these coffee shops opened until early morning.
I like this. In Germany, we can't find restaurants everywhere, like here, especially directly on the street, where people can just sit on the sidewalk, on the carpets.
Yes, but you also have 4 seasons, and it's cold. Here we only have 2, and it's always warm.
Yes, it might be a reason, but I don't know. Things are very different here.
It's your first time in Bali or Indonesia?
No. Yes. Hopefully not the last. Like I told you, we have a strong interest for investment here. A few days ago, I already made the agreement with local coffee producers.
Yes, and people say the German coffee is the best.
Only in Eastern Europe. Look, I remember something funny. We had this delegation from Indonesia in Berlin, and then the last day they wanted to buy some local products to take home. So I joined them, and we went to some shops, the usual souvenir shops. And then they asked to buy some local products like food or something. And we went to another shop and they bought coffee, the one which they saw in all the advertisements. They were happy to take it home, our best coffee. But later that evening, I just realized they took their own coffee back home.
Great. They bought it maybe 10 times more expensive with an amazing graphic design and took it back home. Wow, that's really amazing. So happy for this.
That's reality. My mistake. I realized only in the evening that they bought Indonesian, made in Germany coffee. I left all evening alone.
That's reality? So you think it's really cool that you bought coffee from here at the price of maybe a glass of water, and you sold it back home expensive like gold, and you paid these people here only with maybe the 10th part of what their work is worth of?
Look, I'm sorry this made you upset, and I can understand why. But look, this is reality, and some people must make a profit out of it.
And I'm sure they sleep so well at night.
Sleep well? Sure. They sleep like babies. Business is business as usual. But again, don't get me wrong. I can understand that maybe things aren't fair.
Maybe? You're still not sure? Are you kidding me?
Look, Ida, it's my last weekend in Bali. I had a great time until now. I'm getting old. I have many problems back home. So please, let's just change the subject and come back to our own deal.
Yes, the big deal.
So, Ida, thank you for applying, and I'm glad you will join our team. Again, like I said before, your CV is quite impressive. You have lots of experience already, and you work with some big names. I remember you were 26 or 7, am I right?
Yes, 26.
Do young people here usually go studying abroad?
Sometimes, but not me.
Why?
Because I'm really connected to my family.
Only to your family? Or to the gods also?
What do you mean?
It's funny. When I arrived last week in the airport, I saw this big banner where it was written, "Welcome to Bali, the last island of the gods."
Yes, but in Bali, we call it the Lost Island of the Gods.
The Lost Island. That's funny. Why?
Just look around you and you'll understand.
Look around. Oh, I think I get it because of all these bars and drunk people.
Not only.
But they're everywhere. I can see many international brands. But why the Lost Island? Then they should change that banner from the airport.
It's complicated, but at the same time, I'll try to explain.
Well, you should know it since you're an anthropologist.
Yes, thanks. Look, we're trapped in the middle between economical issues, local culture, and tourism. The local culture here is unique, and sometimes Balinese people are shocked of the differences they see.
You mean like they're shocked by those drunk Australians I saw last night yelling and shouting like pigs? I saw the local staff from my hotel were shocked. And then I saw this drunk guy. Looked like some kind of truck driver walking with a young girl who seemed to be only maybe 20? You mean these cultural shocks?
These are things that I'm not proud of.
But it's just the market, demand and supply.
It's not about this.
Well, then we'll need another meeting so I can understand better. Now I feel too tired. Still, I didn't adapt with the time difference. Look, it's 1 p.m. back home. Time for a nap. So, anyway, thank you again for this evening. I liked that you took me to see that ritual next to the sea. I felt like I was in some fairy tale.
It's something that we do every time when it's a full moon.
Nice. Even though I didn't understand too much, I kind of liked it in a way that I can understand.
Some things are not meant to be understood in a rational way.
Maybe, but I like to have more control over my life.
Maybe we all want in a way, but for other things, we keep a connection with the unknown.
Actually, sounds kind of scary. The unknown. Seeing these people dressed in white, praying in front of the sea, I thought for one moment that their prayers influenced the sea. I remember suddenly the waves becoming bigger, almost reached them.
What you saw is true. The sea was upset. We try every time to make peace with it, but the sea is the most difficult to control.
I was always afraid of the water. When I was little, I dreamed many times that I was drowning. I love to swim, but whenever I sit next to the sea and I hear its waves, it kind of makes me afraid. Even when I swim, I can never swim with my eyes closed.
It's not by chance what you're just telling me.
And the sea waves make me almost get into some panic attack, especially when I hear them during nighttime. I even went to this bungalow in Thailand, in a wild place, with amazing night sky, and slept next to the sea. It was so scary to hear it. I had to sleep with my headphones.
I see.
But tonight, it might sound weird. Maybe it's the first time I kind of felt peaceful next to the sea. Why? I can't explain it. Maybe I'm just getting old. It's strange when I'm telling you this, right?
No, it's not. We prayed to the sea and you felt the sea here is different.
Sounds too mystical for me.
Because I'm sorry, I'll tell this in a direct way. You think too much.
Oh, come on. You almost sound like in that movie with Bruce Lee. Are you going to tell me to be like the water now? Like they say in all these weird New Age groups?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just going to tell you that I can't finish my research for your company.
What? But I'm leaving in 2 days. What do you mean you can't finish? We had a deal.
I know, and I'm sorry, but I can't do this. It's not moral to help you sell some low quality products for my people.
But we had a deal. You accepted. We signed a contract with you, and your research must be sent tomorrow to my boss.
No, I'm sorry, but I can't. We believe very much in karma.
Karma? What the?
Yes, karma, you've heard of it. And that's exactly why I invited you to join the full moon ritual next to the sea, because I know you need it.
What? I just need your research. I don't care about these rituals.
Well, you should care, Carl. If you really want to do business in my country, you should at least care and try to understand something about us and not just use my research to sell bad quality products and fool people around.
Look, I don't really have time for this. I'm not Jesus or something to save the world. I have my own problems back home. I don't want to waste my energy with this talk anymore. Either you send us your marketing research, or I just hire someone else. It's the same for me.
I know, Carl. I know about your problems.
What do you know about me? Nothing.
I know you're not well.
Thanks, really. Now you're some kind of prophet, or what?
No.
And I'm not a fan of that movie. Eat, pray, love. Didn't like it. I'm not easy to be fooled. Tomorrow, I must send your marketing research to my boss. What is this? Some kind of game? Just tell me. What do you want from me? More money?
No.
Then what?
I had a dream.
We all have a dream, and mine is to send the research tomorrow.
My father told me you'll go back home to your country and convince your company to stop exploiting our lands.
What? Your father's some kind of prophet also? That's totally fucked up.
No, he's a Balian priest, and he was conducting the prayers tonight at the sea. He saw you.
And what?
And he said the sea doesn't accept just anyone to feel its peace.
And?
And you'll go back home and convince your company to stop exploiting our land.
You know what? This is totally crazy. I'm going.
Carl, your mother drowned in Bali a long time ago.
My mother? How?
My father saw her in the prayers. And he said it was not her fault.
She was one of the best surfers ever. But everyone said she was so drunk that day.
It's not true, Carl. The sea took her.
How come? How did you? No. I can't accept it. You read it in some newspaper.
No, Carl, my father saw her during the prayers. She's happy and she said she loves you. My father saw a house near the lake.
What? That was my grandparents' house.
She said the house is cold and something about a piano being damaged.
How well she played that piano. Yes, cold. So cold. Because nobody lives there anymore.
Carl, I'm so sorry.
I can't believe all this. I thought I'm really sorry for everything. I always remember how much she loved this island that year. When she came here, I was only about 5 or 6 years old. She let me stay with my grandparents, and she came here only with my father for their honeymoon. They just got married that year. My father could never recover after that. He went crazy and became an alcoholic.
I'm sorry to hear this.
I don't feel so well. Can I speak to your father tomorrow?
Yes, you can.
I'm sorry. I kind of start to understand something. Maybe I don't know. I never felt right about all this.
Please, take your time.
This is for the drinks. My treat. I must really go now.
Carl, you forgot your phone.
Oh, man, crazy. Good night.
End of play.
Thank you to the team from The Lost Island of the Gods. Thank you to the playwright, the director, dramaturg, and cast. And we're up to our last piece of the evening, Addiction, last but certainly not least, by Octavio Sonyango from Moi University, Kenya. And here we go. If you would ask, hold and reset, please unmute. No worries. Resetting.
Do not be addicted to water. What did I say? Do not be addicted to water. I tell you this with all certainty. Life is more important than water. This is what destroyed Africa. This bottle of dirt that holds your little drug, your little joy, something to quench your thirst. Thirst is like lust. It never ends. You'll get a little taste and you'll always want more and more and more until you're stuck looking like a fool with your brother's wife looking back at you as you watch her there with your tongue out as she sunbathes. Bring the two bodies of those who committed this atrocious crime. Look and feast your eyes on the true effects of addiction. When mighty Nasai put us on this earth, he left but two instructions to my great-grandfather, Yasai the First, deliver of all 74 generations ago. Two instructions. Obey Nasai, and man shall be no slave to water. There is no love for one, for you may love your enemy and die. There is no sharing, for if you care for someone next to you, you'll have less than you could. Two instructions. Obey and never be a slave to water. In the olden days, in the books of history that I am well conversant, it says the image of the soul were sent in flying metal birds to the west, helping bring water to our people. And do you know what they did with it? Waste. They wasted it all on nothings. Nothing. Everyone became greedy and they all fought for the right to own water. And in the end, everyone had water. That is where all the problems began. Look at them. Beautiful, emaciated bodies, the way Nasai intended, now left to dust, to rot, and become black porridge that brought about another end to mankind. You think wearing this crown is easy? You think having access to water and being the one in charge of preserving out the trees and food and having a meal every day is good? I am addicted so that you don't have to. I do all these things so that you don't have to. How I miss the taste of dried tongue and the smell of the body when it hasn't had anything to eat or drink, even just for 18 hours, as they used to work in the olden days. How I miss not being able to care what I wear because my body is too thin to hold up any prescribed size of clothing. How I miss the cracking of my bones as I walk, reminding me I am alive. For those of you wondering, this one with the hole in his heart and the other with a crushed skull died because they never stopped searching for water, as we always told you to. Knowledge is a disease. Ignorance is bliss. The water in the bottle was said to be dug out of the soil and didn't even fill the bottle. Water is a drug, I tell you. After digging, the problem became who was going to drink it instead of bringing it to me. The thirst was too much. As the one hit his friend on his head, he was getting stabbed by his fellow researcher. Now, look at them. And keep this image ingrained in your heads. How I miss life. Yet these two ungrateful people get into a brawl because of this. This water couldn't even quench my thirst as an addict, but they went on and killed each other because of it. The bottle must have been laced with ancient chemicals that contaminated the water anyways. Do you know of white gold? The other reason why mankind was finished. If water didn't catch you, then black porridge did. If not, then the white gold killed you reasonably slow until you met your demise. And if all that failed, green paper eventually carried the day. Listen to me, brothers and sisters. We are put on this earth to suffer and be killed. The sooner we accept that, the better. Even in the ancients talked about basic needs. Water wasn't among them. You hear me? It was nowhere. Let I, Odai of Yasei, the Nasa appointed leader of our people from our great-grandfather 74 generations ago, lead you to paradise, void of water, hence no thirst. I shall not enter those gates. My job and those of before me is to open the gates for you and let you in as we stand and wave to you. Listen to Odai of Yasai and be free of all and stop this senseless killing because of something Nasai didn't intend us having in the first place. May Nasai ease your suffering and keep you strong at heart as I go into the abyss of addiction. Nasai has spoken.
Thank you. Thank you to the playwright, the director, the dramaturg, and to Asia. Thank you very much. We'd also like to thank our production team, our co-directors, our production manager, our stage manager, our assistant stage managers, and all those whose work has gone both seen here and also behind the scenes. At this time, we'd like to ask you to turn on your cameras, to go to your same view button that you used before, and to join us in a big round of applause as you're coming back on for all that hard work and all of those fantastic pieces Thank you to the playwrights. Thank you to the directors. Thank you to the dramaturgs. Thank you to the entire team. And of course, the company. As we go into this next moment, we will ask you to keep your cameras on, but your microphones muted as we begin our talkback. Here we welcome your comments, your feedback, your questions. You may ask them in any direction of the playwrights, of the directors, of the dramaturgs, of the faculty mentors in the room. So there's kind of no limit to the direction of the question, and we'd love to hear from you. You can either raise hands, which is probably the best way. In order to do so, just use your reactions button, and you'll see a sign right there that says raise hand. That's the easiest way for me to acknowledge you. And you may also post in the chat. I'm going to open that up now, so you can pop anything into the chat if you'd like. We'll be monitoring that as well. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna move to the second page so that I can see everyone. There we go. Did somebody have a question or a comment to kick us off? And actors, yes, please do feel free to restore your names so that you're not just a dot, but a person. Thank you to the well wishes going in the chat. I'd like to kick us off, if I may, with a general question to the playwrights. We always like to start with you because if you're willing, it is you that we do this for. We want to hear your words. We want you to be able to hear your words. And so I'd love to ask any of the playwrights in the room how this process might have opened up some new discovery or might have shown you something about your work that you didn't expect. Anything that you discovered throughout the process of hearing your words interpreted by someone from somewhere else. So I invite any of the playwrights to field that question. But we're really looking for any of you who are in the room. I'm not sure if I see. Let's see. Scanning my pages. Some still don't have names, so it's a little tricky to see. Any playwrights? Kara.
Hi. So I am very excited. Honestly, it was such a cool experience to see a work that I wrote performed live. Because well, I was involved with like some of the productions of some of the other plays. I wasn't able to see the rehearsals for mine, so I was very pleasantly surprised and very excited to see the rehearsal and everything. I thought it was really cool to see kind of like the almost POV shots of like the actors moving around as they like went like different areas in their space and everything. I thought that was a very innovative use of like the Zoom format. And it is definitely exciting as a playwright to be able to see like something that I had intended for like a live stage translated onto a virtual format. So thank you so much again. I'm very, very pleased to be part of this process.
Thank you, Kara. And that kind of opens up another thought for me that we might turn to directors as well, because you all are principal interpreters of this work. So what was it like to direct in this format? And did you discover anything about the works that you were working on in terms of your approach and working on Zoom in this way in digital theater? So we can expand that and toss that to directors as well. Macy, please.
Hi, yeah, so I've never directed anything on like Zoom or anything, so it's definitely like a new approach. Um, you know, you have to think outside of the box, especially because you're very limited to compare like physical movement. So it was very interesting to see how like what the actors had in mind and like the collaboration between I know a lot of like the directors and the actors like talked about it. But yeah, and I feel like it worked out really well. And everybody was very like proud of what they did and how they did it. And I think it just turned out great. And I'm very just I mean, I had my camera off obviously and I was muted, but I was like so proud the whole time, you know. But yeah, everybody did so great and I'm very glad that I got to be a part of this process. And you know, Zoom was a very new experience, so I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you. Absolutely. And we can leave that question out there for a minute if any other directors had any insights or responses, anything that they discovered throughout the process. Brett.
Yeah, so this is also my first experience directing over Zoom, which proved to be uh, quite a challenge for me conceptually because I am a very physical person. I like to have everyone on their feet, which I was able to get away with for Broken Family. But for Lost Island, um, that was a really interesting exercise for me because I felt I got to really hone in on like the acting elements themselves versus I think this stage picture would look cool. It was very nice to be able to focus. I was forced to focus a lot more on the text of the piece and on the motivations behind both characters. And I think it was a very good experience. And I think both plays I worked with were also top notch. So, those are my thoughts.
Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing that. Absolutely. Oh yeah, Kaya.
So I share a similar sentiment about the intimacy and like the closeness that we got to have being on Zoom. It was kind of like being on camera too. So it was nice to explore that because you don't always get to have that level of closeness and intimacy in theater. You know, you usually have to play it more big so that, you know, quote unquote, grandma in the back can hear and can see. But here it's like there could be more subtlety in the storytelling for the actors and all that stuff because we had a closer sort of audience. So I really liked it. I really liked exploring through Zoom.
Great. Absolutely. Thank you. And we can open this up to actors, of course, as well, especially when you're looking at characterization or diction, pronunciation, any of those things which you had to negotiate. We're really interested also in that perspective, what it means to be someone who's working on texts that may not be familiar, or words that might not be familiar, or in languages that might not be familiar, and what that process is like for you. So we'll toss it to you all as well. Amelia.
So it was okay. It was definitely kind of a bit of a challenge, as you know, some may be able to understand doing it online. I've been in a production before over Zoom, so I kind of had that like in my toolbox, but still, it's very, very important that you pay attention to certain things that you may not really have to think about as much in an onstage production. So for example, even though I'm right here in the microphones, basically right there, that doesn't mean I can mumble, you know, even if I'd love to, even if I wanted to. So it's kind of like you kind of have to play with your voice a bit and see what works best, just to take into consideration that this is a virtual production and things will not necessarily translate the exact same way as like a production that was in a physical space. So that was one kind of interesting thing or challenge I was really excited to like take on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot to negotiate. Thank you. And that question is still out there for anyone who wants it. And I do see another one in the chat, so we'll grab that in a minute too. Asia.
For me, working on addiction, I knew some of the words that I immediately first reading it, I knew that I needed to make sure that I had my pronunciation down because I knew that there were some words that I wasn't too familiar in. And doing my research, I remember the first few days we just spent researching the monologue. What does this monologue mean to us? What is the water a metaphor for? What are the words that I don't know and what are the representation of it? So I knew the process for me was always to pay attention on the way how I enunciate my words and make sure that I am coming correctly because it's not the first language for me and I don't understand it, but I want to make sure that the audience gets to understand the importance of the words and stuff like that. So the process was fun and interesting, honestly. I had fun working on the piece. So
I'm glad to hear it. Thank you. We've got a couple questions stacking in the chat, so we'll grab them as they come. The first is from Kristen, and we can take these simultaneously if you want to tackle them as they occur to you. But the first is, what was it like for you to work in a process-oriented format? Because we emphasize process over product. So we're looking at what that's like for you, and we'd love to hear what that experience is. And second, Kara had a great question for fellow playwrights. What inspired you to write your unique interpretation of the theme, water? Great question. And you can field those as you're inspired. Teresa, good to see you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for your work tonight, and thank you for being here. My friend Alex is in the background with her dog Davy Jones. So we had a blast. We had a girls' night watching. I just want to thank everybody for your work first and foremost, and second of all, I want to say that this year, as opposed to previous years, I really tried to focus on the process with the artists that I was working with and really kind of biting into the cultural significance of the plays that we were working with as opposed to pushing for a product. So this was the first year where I really felt like we went through that whole process as opposed to it kind of on fast forward. And I was really impressed with the dramaturgical work, the lack of reticence of the playwrights to just kind of jump in and help explain different cultural significance and pronunciations. Octave gave us tons of vocal pronunciations, which was really helpful. At least for me, I hope it was helpful for you too, Asia. Laura gave us a bunch of beautiful, beautiful cultural significance of the moon, and Kara really worked with her getting some of that information out. And it was incredible how much I learned this year. And that was my favorite, besides the beautiful production that we just witnessed. That was my favorite part of the process.
Thank you so much. Teresa is a repeat offender. She's been with us for many years now and is a valued friend and colleague. Thank you. Madison, I'd love to hear a response to either question. I thought I saw Madison's hand.
Madison, you're muted.
My apologies. When I first wrote the play, it was an original idea, and it stemmed from, because my family is from the Appalachian Mountains, specifically West Virginia, and it wasn't only until after I finished writing the play and I submitted it to be reviewed that I kind of started finding things that happened in real life that I connected to them. Two things, one would being a photo and another case and event. The first being a photo from the 1950s. It's the name escapes me, but of the photo. But it's basically a woman, a wife and her husband who lost of losing their child, maybe really examine the grief of Elias compared to the grief of Ethel, which is totally different. And the second being that came to me after writing the play was the Casey Anthony case and how the whole situation with the pool was involved and how she made it seem like she wasn't at fault, which if we look at the evidence, clear there's evidence and things like that. But I would say that the photo and the Casey Anthony case were really helped me.
Might be breaking up just a little bit. But I thank you. I lost just the tail end, but I think I got most of it, which is great. Thank you so much. And I do see a hand. Laura.
Hi, everyone. Actually, I need help. Paulo, você consegue me ajudar? Eu vou ter que falar em português, porque eu não vou conseguir pronunciar tudo em inglês. Paulo tá aí, né? Eu queria responder, na verdade, a pergunta que fizeram aqui, né, no chat.
Sim, você tem uma versão da sua obra em português?
Sim, eu tenho sim. Foi escrita originalmente em português, eu tenho ela sim. E sobre o que inspirou a escrever sobre a água, né? Eu acredito que foi essa questão. Eu acho que, para mim, eu justamente pensei o contrário daquilo que seria a proposta, sabe? Eu gosto muito de fazer essa conexão com o que seria o total oposto daquilo, né, que foi sugerido. Então, a ideia de falar sobre a falta daquilo que é tão importante foi o desenrolar da história para mim. E esse foi o meu ponto de partida, assim, pensar o oposto. Então, se não tivesse água, por onde eu começaria, né? O que eu posso escrever a partir disso? Então, surgiu.
Incrível.
Obrigada.
So I am the translator too. So she said that instead of thinking about the presence of water in her play, she started from the idea of the absence of water. So what would happen to those characters if they didn't have water around them instead of having water?
Brilliant. And may I ask a follow-up and beg your indulgence for one more second, Paulo? What did you discover? Where did that lead you? So you started from the absence, and how did we get the play we got from there?
Essa pergunta foi direto para mim?
Laura, ele está te perguntando como é que foi essa perspectiva tua de começar com a ideia, como é que a gente chega nessa tua peça a partir dessa ideia de começar com a falta da água em vez da presença da água?
Aqui onde eu moro atualmente, que por acaso é a cidade onde eu nasci, ela é cercada por um rio, que inclusive foi o que fez essa região se desenvolver enquanto cidade. E a minha família, que está aqui há muitos anos, sempre teve essa questão com o rio, por exemplo, né? O rio, se ele está muito seco, você não consegue fazer suas atividades como o cultivo, ou enfim, era usado antigamente até para você tomar banho, beber água, lavar roupa, todas essas coisas. E aqui tem uma questão também que quando chove muito, por exemplo, uma semana de chuva, acabam acontecendo enchentes, né? Então aquela água transborda e esses dois extremos, assim, são, de certa forma, frequentes, assim. E eu acho que essa relação que eu não tive, mas pessoas que eu conheço tiveram, desses dois opostos, assim, foi o que me deu assim um ponto de partida, né? Essa questão assim de observar a relação dessas pessoas com as quais eu convivo com a água. Então, foi desenrolando a partir daí a história.
So basically, where she lives, there's a river, and she said that nowadays it's totally different, but in the past people were very dependent on the river, and the river could cause extreme situations. So the totally lack of water, or the opposite, when it rained a lot, the river flooded and caused damage to the town too. So she wanted to explore these two different sides of dangerous sides of the river, when there is too much water and when there is no water at all.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura, and thank you, Paula, for that translation. Fantastic. As we continue, we can open it up and, oh, and there's something that's being popped in the chat. Oh, fantastic. A link to the photo, an inspiration photo was mentioned. If you have anything else that you were wondering about, you can pop it into the chat. I do see Paolo's hand, please. And Paolo has been a longtime partner with us from our first iteration of this several years ago. So thank you, Paolo.
Thank you, Nick and Kristen, and all partners, Janet and everyone here. I'm curious about some directorial choices. Let's take the example of Laura's play, the first one that was presented. The decision of casting the father, the neighbor, I mean, with the same actress that played the girlfriend, who is actually this neighbor's daughter. I'm curious if this was a conceptual choice, or it's the problem that Nick presented in the beginning, that we face sometimes the lack of the specific roles that the playwright choose for their characters, and we don't have any other choice than casting who we have. So I don't know who was or who is the director of that play, if she or he is here, but this is my question. And of course we saw that in other plays too, so other directors could also answer to this question.
Paulo, my name is Teresa. I had the honor of directing Laura's piece this evening. I wish I could say it was a grand concept of great design, but it was more of the modus operandi that happened this semester. So Jean-Marie did a brilliant job of delineating, I thought, between the two characters, but that was not in grand concept. It was more in design, and it was kind of an interesting. We talked a lot about the inherited heaviness that we get from our families. So if I was to, the inherited responsibility, the inherited trauma, the inherited guilt or reparation or whatever it might be that we get from our families. So if I was going to make a grand sweeping gesture, I would say it was perfectly cast, because it is indicative of the inheritance in that family. However, that was more of design, not concept.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. I see Janet's hand, and then there's a question direct to Madeline. So, Janet, take it away. Janet is another of our longtime global partners, University of Toronto. Welcome.
Hi, I hope you can all hear me. I was actually going to ask a question of Madeline, and then I saw the question pop up to Madeline. So I thought I should give Madeline a bit of a disclaimer, and that I tell my students to write about whatever they want, and if they're moved by water, write about it, and if they're not, write about something that moves them. And so I don't really impose something and force them into a box. I want the students to speak about something that comes from them, from their essence. And so I think that my question, I was going to ask, Madeline is also a director. She runs extracurricular theater. She does a lot of extra work as an actor, director. And I was wondering what the process was like when it was out of your hands. Usually Madeline is in charge of it all. And so I wondered what this process was like, but Madeline can also speak to the question in the chat as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Janet, first of all. I think to touch on kind of the question from the chat from Erica, for me, this is one of those pieces that had been sort of in the back of my mind, slowly being written for a long time. So it was something that I'd been wanting to do. But in terms of the theme of water, it was, for me, like when I thought of water, it was always like my first thought would go to like calm water and having it that like tranquility to it. But what I really wanted to do was go and dive into like the rougher and more kind of full of conflict areas that water can also represent. And for me, it was sort of some of these characters, like it was sort of this embodiment of that idea, and that the conflict and sort of that chaos that can come from there. And it was all, I also think that that kind of helped to kind of find those moments of tension and just where everything could really build and then go back down, and having those was really interesting. So I think the way that the cast and Brett interpreted it was really great and kind of spot on with where I was going with it. And to Janet, your other question, I think it was very strange to have to kind of let go of it, and especially when I had to choose like such a short amount to give people to work with, because this was sort of part of a much bigger piece. So there would have been a lot more background into like the characters and their lives and like all of the background that kind of leads up to all these moments. So it was definitely something challenging, but I also think it was really valuable, particularly for A Broken Family, because it was just because of the timing and how the rhythm and tempo is so kind of crucial to it. It was really helpful for me to hear how like someone else had interpreted it, and how kind of all this overlap of talking had worked when I wasn't there to kind of give my vision or what I thought it would sound like. And I think that sort of was the most beneficial piece, because it really speaks to how you kind of need to take that step back to really look at just the words themselves and what they're doing. So I think that was a really valuable experience for me, especially because, as Janet said, I'm often kind of involved as playwright and director, which can be valuable, but this really showed me kind of that importance of separating those two as well.
It's brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. And the chat's blowing up with requests for the larger work when it's ready, Madeline. Everybody wants to read it, so that's great. That's great. Kristen, I see your hand popped up, and I see Octave joined us too. That's great.
I just wanted to share something that I thought was really neat, a neat response from one of the playwrights this year. And Octavius, I understand that you've joined us today. I just wanted to share this little bit that Octavius had submitted another play first. And I had seen, in fact, more than one. And so having seen Octavius's work and how prolific he is and how prolific his colleague Steve Ogushima are, I reached out to Octavius and said, you know, our theme is water this year. How would you feel about creating some kind of monologue or some short piece related to that? And he wrote back and said, yeah, I can do that. And it was like, there was like a 3-week turnover at that point, turnaround, and it was over the winter. And lo and behold, Octavius submitted this really fascinating monologue, Addiction. And I just wanted to mention that because I thought that was a really interesting response kind of in the moment. Anyway, I don't want to put you on the spot, Octavius, but I did want to tell that story. And we just had a chance to see your monologue, and we've recorded it, so you'll have a chance to view it later as well.
And to that end, there's a question for you in the chat as well, which you can respond to if you'd like in writing or verbally, whatever you prefer. But we're glad to see you. And we have time for probably about 1 or 2 more questions or comments, observations. Certainly, Octave, if you're interested in that question, you can grab it, and any others are still open to anyone else. Yes, please. Octave, you're on.
Good evening, everyone. I guess on your side it's evening. Here it's like so early in the morning. So my piece, sorry for the video. We're having some internet problems this side, so hopefully that will get fixed so you can see my face. On the question on the chat, the piece actually also, I just came in when Marie was saying her piece is part of a larger one. Mine is also part of a larger kind of idea, though it's not yet done. But it's about like Africa, or probably my country, Kenya, in like, I don't know, 21 probably, because the idea came to me in 2021. And it's about this, how the political landscape would have grown to such an extent. Like, if the world ended today, my people are so attached to politics in a way that it's basically a way of life for some people on this side. So I just sat one day and I thought, if the world ended and like climate change became a reality and we started living in a desert or something like that, there would be no water, and this politician guy or this chief guy or this king person would come and start to tell us to not be addicted to water, because like as it's a basic need, yes, but they would some way find a way for it to be something that we should not want. Like currently we talk about a lot of like the basic needs, food, shelter, and clothing. And a lot of times we are told, you'll be strong and like persevere through it and things like that. So I just took the one part. I had been imagining this character who is like, who's a chief at the time, like, and who's been there, who's like the mantle has been passed from them, not a sort of democratic kind of power switch. And now he gets into the scene and he's telling us, don't be addicted to water because water will make you weak. You'll become like this, and all that. So yeah, so the piece means I'm very obsessed with thinking about the future of Africa. Like I know compared to the Western world, we're kind of behind, but I don't see a lot of interpretations on or like visions of how Africa will be like in the next century or the century after that. So it was just like me trying to think about where like the continent would be when it gets to that time. Yeah, so the piece is just like probably speaking to my great grandchildren. Yeah, about how things would be then, and that at least their great grandfather might have seen something like this happen. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing the inspiration for that piece. That's fantastic.
You're welcome.
And thanks for getting up so early in the morning to be with us. That's the sacrifices that our global partners make around the world, staying up till very odd hours to do these readings. So we thank you.
Next time I'll stay up instead of sleeping to wake up.
That's okay.
Okay.
We're just about at time. I'll leave the chat open so you can continue to post anything. But Janet, please.
I just want to encourage Octavio to maybe begin a African futurism movement and continue writing to your grandchildren. I'd be very interested to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Janet. As we conclude, I'd just like to share a few things with you that are coming up. We'd like you to please join us for more of these readings. We're just one of many. So tomorrow morning, if you want to set your alarm, 7:30 a.m. because our partners in China are presenting tomorrow evening for them. 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Nanjing University will present their readings. And we'll pop the link for that in the chat in just a moment. As we're looking at other readings, we've kind of broken our season into two sort of festival weeks, depending on academic calendars. So we also invite you to return because we have a number of readings later in the season, kind of in that week between April 30th and May 5th. The first of which on our calendar so far is at Moi University in Kenya on May 1st, May 2nd, Santa Catarina Federal University in Brazil, and on May 3rd, University of Toronto, Canada. And we're still waiting to hear back for a final date from our partners in Romania, but we'll keep you posted on that as well. We have the link here for the presentation in the morning, and I'm dropping it in the chat as well. So if any of you are interested in coming for Nanjing University, we'd love to see you. There we'll hear 4 more plays by 4 more playwrights interpreted by the students from Nanjing. And finally, what would we be without you? We must thank you, our global partners in Brazil, Canada, China, Kenya, Peru, Romania, and South Korea. It's amazing that you continue to connect with us, and we're honored to be your partner. This program is made possible with support from George Mason University School of Theater and the College of Visual and Performing Arts. Special thanks to Clayton Austin, Ken Elston, and Kevin Murray, former directors and avid supporters of 1001 Plays. The Friends of Theater at Mason and our generous donors, we thank you for all that you do for us. Virginia Humanities for their most recent and generous gift. And of course, to Joe LeBranner, our current director of the School of Theater, and Rick Davis, our dean, both avid supporters. We thank you. And we thank all of you for being with us. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope to see you really soon. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much. Great job, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
Have a
so
good
much.
night.
Thank
Good night.
you. Bye.